Sean Bailey out of turn up to present the measure of effectiveness. That's number 9 on the agenda.
Great.
So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:06 PM and start by reading our accessibility statements. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in the meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. So now, next up, I don't have the agenda, but I assume next up is roll call.
Actually, there is, that's correct.
Okay, and I'm ready to do that. Abington,
Yeah, I'm present.
delegate, are you?
No, delegate, yes, sorry.
Okay, Avon, Bridgewater, delegate, Brockton, Duxbury,
Present.
East Bridgewater,
Present.
and are you going to specify delegate or alternate?
Delegate.
Okay, Easton, Halifax, Hanover.
Sandy, if I could just have you back up, someone muted this conference room, so I didn't know that. Wasn't me. So can we just go back to Avon, because both of them are here, please?
Okay, sure. So Avon,
Avon is delegate and alternate.
thank you. Bridgewater, delegate, Brockton, Duxbury. Chris Ryan, you're muted. Duxbury,
Present again.
East Bridgewater,
Delegate present.
Easton, Halifax,
Oh, good catch, I didn't see that.
Hanover,
Delegate present.
Hanson, Kingston,
Present.
Pembroke,
Delegate present.
Plymouth,
Delegate present.
Plimpton, Stoughton, West Bridgewater, Whitman,
Delegate present.
and at large.
Present, delegate.
Thank you.
And with that, it sounds like I can turn the meeting back over to Val, because I heard her on the phone. Is that right, Val, or can you not see right now?
I've gotten in.
Awesome.
and If
All
you
yours.
can,
We're on the consent agenda.
I can't, all I can see is. Okay. I guess I don't have access to the document, so.
So in the packet that was sent out, there were minutes. So as just so we can move forward, the consent agenda were the January meeting minutes and then the environmental notifications.
I move
That
to
would be-
accept the January meeting minutes and the environmental notices that were sent out as part of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Roll call would be needed. Sandy?
Here we go. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accepting, but I accept it.
Bridgewater, except Duxbury,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton, Halifax, Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson, Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plymouth,
accept,
I'll print up one.
Stoughton, West Bridgewater, Whitman, abstain, you said,
Yes.
and at large.
Accept.
Thank you.
So Val, next on the agenda is the January financials that Brenda would be presenting that were accepted by the Finance Committee last night.
Right. Okay. Would you like to go ahead?
Hi, everybody. Okay, financial reports for January 2023. At the end of January, we were in good financial condition with a 7.39% budget surplus. Statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month of $178,723.86. Cash position report. Thank you. Shows income for the month of $254,266.96. Disbursements for the month were $235,071.10. The total cash available at month's end was $1,250,837.89. The OPEB account had a gain of $42,269.99, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $953,149.80. Budget resources report. Total receipts for the month being $254,266.96, brings the total year-to-date receipts to $2,434,154.80. AAA report. Outstanding balance for AAA pass-through programs was $1,111,888.49 at the end of January. Outstanding balance for AAA admin and ombudsman programs was $220,583.27, bringing the total outstanding balance at the end of January for all AAA programs to $1,332,471.76. Voluntary transportation account had a beginning balance of $175,604.62. Restricted fund payments to volunteers were $733.76. We received $583 in voluntary program donations, bringing the ending balance in the fund to $175,453.86. ROM statement and activity. The balance at the beginning of the month was $175,570.96. Receipts in January of $7,850 brings total receipts at the end of January to $42,950. Expenses in January were $7,782.32, bringing the total expenses at the end of January to $49,049.32. The ending statement balance in January was $170,443.86. The budget spend-town report for January. Total expenditures for the month were $1,263,585. I'm sorry, to date at the end of January. The spent to date percentage rate at the end of January was 50.98%. The ideal percentage in the seventh month of the fiscal year would be 58.37%. So at month's end, we are showing a 7.39% surplus. Page 2, budgeted income shows no change. Page 3, pass-through income shows no change. And that brings us to lastly, the list of combined accounts payable and cash transfers. And that's the end of the financial report. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for that. So I don't believe I received an agenda and struggling with this. So I guess we're on to the staff report.
So
Um,
before we,
Can I
Wait.
make a motion that we accept the January financial report?
Great, thank you.
I'll second that.
Second, okay. And so,
Okay,
so
and I'll
Madam
do a
Chair,
roll.
Madam
I'll do-
Chair, if, I'm sorry, the roll call, I apologize.
Okay, so Abington,
Accept,
Avon. Bridgewater, accept. Duxbury,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton, Hanover,
Accept.
Kingston,
accept,
Pembroke,
Except,
Plymouth,
accept,
Stoughton, Whitman,
Accept.
and at large.
Accept.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I know that you were mentioning what's next on the agenda was the staff report.
Thank you. Just waiting. Very good. Thank you, Megan. Hello, everybody. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Sean Bailey. I am one of the senior transportation planners with OCPC. Been here for almost 10 years. I believe I've met most everybody here, but just wanted to introduce myself for anybody who I have not had the privilege of meeting. So I'll be talking to you all tonight about the 2022 Measure of Effectiveness report. It's something that we've been doing since 2020. Without further ado, next slide, please. So measuring public participation, the Measures of Effectiveness report was something that was recommended by Federal Highway and the FTA in our last certification review in 2019. So starting with calendar year 2020, the first report was done by Paul Chenard, previously of OCPC. And then the last two reports, I have headed them up and done the writing and the analysis. The MOE report analyzes all of our public outreach efforts and measures the effectiveness of it, and also dives at our social media usage as well as external engagement with our communities and other stakeholders. So there are 5 measures of effectiveness that we look at in this report. One is meeting attendance. So like, items like our monthly JTC and MPO meetings, number of LEP, which is short for Limited English Proficiency / Title VI protected class encounters, number of documents that we translate into the 4 LEP Safe Harbor Clause languages. The second and third items in 2022, we did not have any encounters or documents translated. So just up at the forefront, just wanted to say, there are no slides for them just because we did not have any. The fourth item is number of direct engagements with outside organizations. And then lastly, number of correspondence such as social media, direct mailings, email, etc. So first and foremost, our direct engagements. Some of our routine engagements are, as I previously stated, are our monthly MPO and JTC meetings, as well as these council meetings, basically any meetings that we host that are, that we directly engage the public. And then as well as some of our other engagements, such as our LRTP public outreach that we do at town meetings and other public events, our road safety audits. Over the last couple of federal fiscal years, we've done a lot of virtual road safety audits in all of our communities. Our Bike to Work Day, which we took 2 years off in 2020 and 2021 because of COVID, and then also our bicycle pedestrian advisory committee meetings, which are quarterly. And then diving right at our MPO meeting attendance analysis, we had 9 meetings in calendar year 22, which is the same average number of meetings that we have had over the previous 5 years, with an average attendance of 24 people a meeting, which was also the average meeting attendance over the previous 5 years. All of our meetings have been virtual since February of 2020, with the lone exception of the June 2021 meeting, in which we had our signatories present in person at the OCPC conference room. And the chart on the right side of your screen is the total attendance for all the meetings in each of the calendar years. We had a increase from 2018 to 2020, had a slight dip in 2021, but that can be attributed to the fact that we had 2 fewer meetings. I believe we only had 8 meetings in 2021, and then we had 9 in 2022, and in 2020, I believe we had 10, which can account for the additional attendance. And moving on to JTC, we had 11 meetings in 2022. The average over the previous 5 years was 9 meetings with an average attendance of 29 people per meeting, just 1 person higher than the average of 28 over the previous 5 years. And the last in-person meeting we had was the March 2020 JTC meeting. Little did we know that would be the last one, for a very long time. And I know some people are eager to get back into in-person meetings. We'll see if that happens. And then to the right, on the right side of your screen, is the total yearly attendance. And as you can see, we had minor decreases over the first 3 years, but in 2021 and 2022, we had significant increases, breaking over 300 total attendees for JTC meetings this past calendar year. And then overall engagement, this includes both our direct engagement, such as our JTC and MPO meetings and road safety audits, but it also includes meetings and events that OCPC has attended with outside organizations, such as the Massachusetts BPAC meetings that they have, Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee meetings, the BAT Advisory Board meetings, MassDOT TIP project public design hearings, road safety audits that are hosted by the communities. For example, back in December, I believe it was, I was one of 4 people that attended a road safety audit in Easton for a section of Route 138. I also attended a couple of the MBTA's bus network redesign public meetings, and then various select board meetings, as well as the Transportation for Massachusetts meetings. And as the previous slides, the chart on the right is the total. Can you go back? Thank you. 28, for 2018 to 2022, these are the total amount of engagements, both OCPC hosted as well as other public events that we attended. Obviously, 2020 had the lowest. That was when the year with COVID, not a lot of events were going on. But we have seen an increase in the last couple of years, and I expect and hope to have the number continue to grow after this. Next slide, please. And here are the stats on the OCPC newsletter. We started in 2020 after COVID hit, and we started going all virtual. And we wanted to get the word out to as many people as we could about stuff that OCPC is going on and stuff that we are promoting. Over the last year, we had 341 additional people sign up for our OCPC newsletter, bringing our total amount of recipients to 948. In the chart on the right, the blue section is newsletters that were sent, and then the orange section is ones that were actually opened. And the total number of newsletters that were sent was, as you can see, a very high amount, just over 35,000. No, we did not create 35,000 newsletters. That number is representative of the amount of recipients times the amount of newsletters that were sent out. Obviously, each month, there's 2, 3, 4, or 5 newsletters that were sent out. It varied by month. And then our social media stats. We have a Facebook account, Twitter account, and a YouTube channel. Before 2020, before COVID hit, we did not get as much utilization out of these 3 websites that we do now. Facebook, for example, last year we had 127 posts with over 7,000 impressions, which accounts for things such as reactions, comments, and shares. Our Twitter account, we tweeted out 70 tweets that yielded over 6,000 impressions. which accounts for things such as tweets that are viewed, liked, and retweeted. And then for our YouTube channel, we posted 77 videos of, our MPO, JTC, and council meetings, our road safety audits, and other public engagements that we hosted at OCPC. And those 77 videos yielded a total of 717 views. So in conclusion, our overall engagement increased. Towards the end of 2022, we had some of our first in-person public engagements since the beginning of COVID. As I stated, Easton hosted a in-person road safety audit for the Route 138 project. I know some of the LRTP public outreach. There was an event at the Metro South Chamber of Commerce that was in Brockton, that was in person. So it's good. It's nice having the virtual engagement to allow for more people to attend and be able to, join in wherever they are. But at the same time, it is also nice having face-to-face interactions. The MPO and JTC attendance was higher in 2022 than 2021. So that's a good sign that we're getting more people to join our monthly meetings. And the total newsletters, which, as I said, was a multiplication of the amount of recipients by the amount of newsletters that were sent out. It increased over the previous year by over 16,000. And as you all know, the OCPC website, the new OCPC website was launched towards the end of last year. And, one of the things that was a really nice addition was the accessibility toolbar, which allowed for, people with any visual impairments to adjust with such aspects as text size and visual contrast. And one thing that we also added to our website last year was our online public comment submission portal. So whenever we have items that go out for a public review and comment period, such as the TIP, the UPWP, or any other documents, people can provide public comments at meetings, they can call in, they can send a letter. But last year I attended a public engagement webinar, and there were speakers from DOTs and MPOs all across the country. And a handful of those presenters mentioned that they had an online public comment portal so that people could submit comments right on their website. And after speaking with management, it was decided that was, that would be a nice addition. So we have that up and running on our website. And we actually had received our first comment on the draft 2023 to 2027 tip from last year that was endorsed. And I think there's one more slide. Oh, okay. And that is my presentation. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
You have a question?
Yes.
Couple actually, good. On that 16,000 newsletters, who gets them?
OCPC staff, our delegates, our alternates, people who work for the towns, DPW, highway departments, planning departments, our partners and stakeholders. It's our newsletter. We promote it at our public meetings. We have our we have the entry. You can. I believe it's on the homepage of our website that you can sign up for the newsletter. You just enter your name and your email address, and then you receive the newsletters whenever they're produced.
And there's nothing on it that makes them like respond, so if anybody's actually reading it, if it's worth doing.
So
You have no way to measure that, right?
Yeah, so on the chart that I had on that page, it had the total number of newsletters sent, and then it also, another figure on the bar chart that was on top of that showed the amount of newsletters that were opened.
So these are all going by, these are going by mail or email?
Email.
Email.
Oh, they're all email. Oh, okay, I thought you was
Yeah.
mail. Thank you. All right, I'm
Okay.
done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome,
there any-
Val.
And just as an aside, Madam Chair, this work is just really important, not just only transportation side of things, but for the organization. I believe someone has a hand up. Sorry, I didn't know if that was still up. But just wanted to say thank you to Sean and his work on this. And we'll continue. If anybody has any further questions, it is a collaboration with our communications department to continually to reach out. You know, the good news is that have not had many people unsubscribe, which means that people are finding it really useful. So thank you.
Great. Do you need us to take a motion to accept that report, or are we set to
No.
move on? Okay.
No, this does not need to be voted on. It was just merely a presentation of a recently completed report.
Oh, that's great. Appreciate that. Are we ready to move on to the staff report?
We are. And so one of the wonderful best news that we've had so far, we have a new addition to the Old Colony Planning Council family. Kyle Mowat and his wife, Nicole, and their son Hunter welcomed their new baby, Jonah Mowat, and just was born last night. And for many of you who know that Kyle works on so many different things, he's a drone pilot as well as bike and ped, but also does our traffic counts. And but we just wanted on behalf of the whole Old Colony Planning Council delegates and staff to welcome the newest member to the family. So wait till Kyle hears that the baby just made the staff meeting today. But thank you. And then just quickly, I'm going to go through quickly on the staff report, just because what we'll do is there's a couple of you who indicated you may not have received it, but you know, just in terms of we're working with cross departments, but really the transportation department is working with the city of Brockton, but the whole region for Bike Month. We'll be looking to have in April a citation. There's some of the other things that just in terms of administration and just continuing doing site visits to our communities. I just want to give just a biggest shout out to Megan. She's been working with the towns and our organization for getting the town annual reports out in a timely fashion and very deep and engaged with what's going on, what we're doing for the communities. All of the delegates and alternates do get CC'd when we send them out, but it's a lot of work. And just wanted to say Megan's got it down to a science. And obviously we're commemorating Black History Month this month. And for those that are on social media, OCPC now officially has an Instagram account, and we will be working hard next to thank you as for those who follow it will if I was going to say for anybody that has an Instagram account to please follow, but we're also going to be working on LinkedIn as a way of just getting the word out. So quickly, just the Area Agency on Aging, they're continuing to work with the program director, with Lila Burgess. I think at some point I really would like to have Lila come in and talk about where this program, where the Ombudsman's program's coming, the assisted living program. We just want to send best wishes to Gabrielle Sylvain Jean. She just tendered her resignation so we'll be looking for a full-time position. We're still working out some of the other things about that in terms of it's a state funded and looking for additional funding from the state to help support that program. I'm just going to keep skipping down in terms of stop right there for 1 second. That, as many of you know, David Klein and Lila and Jane Seelig, they're deeply involved with so many of your Council on Agings and the report and the resources, along with Old Colony Elder Services. It's just a great synergy. We can keep going, Megan. The community planning, again, in terms of the open space recreation plan, Duxbury. Man, I don't think that we've ever seen so many different, there must be hundreds of surveys from the town of Duxbury on this project. I don't think I've ever seen more than 800 surveys return. And then again, there is an upcoming, next week, there is a program, I think you all had received an invite, but there's an event being held on next Tuesday at Bridgewater State University that we're working in partnership. So we can keep skipping on. There's a whole other thing, the economic development. Before we go back, Dottie Fuginetti, if your towns have not heard from her already, I think she's mostly reached out to you about the MBTA communities, providing technical assistance. Old Colony Planning Council is receiving up to $20,000 for technical assistance. So it's resources that are coming in, but if anybody has had any particular need to have Dottie go before the either Board of Selectmen and or for the Planning Board. She's just terrific. She has a wonderful command upon the MBTA communities and going forward. So, you know, and then there's housing production grant program that's through Mass Housing. So, and then transportation, it's been announced, but just to reiterate that the Safe Streets for All grant that was federally funded, as it's noted here, it's worth 400,000, so it's 320,000 from the feds and 80,000 state match. And Bill McNulty is the lead on the project, and we just got notification about a webinar that we will participate in next week to find out the next steps. Charlie and his staff, in terms of tip readiness, you all know how valuable the tip is in terms of the project, so we are working with I shouldn't say we, Charlie and Bill McNulty are working with Mass DOT in terms of vetting these various projects and where they are and what needs to be moved or what needs to be increased or what needs to be, again, all the different things that need to be done. So the MPO meetings we send out notifications. Please keep an eye out for that. And then I think the Safe Routes to School meeting in East Bridgewater is another highlight. The Route 18 corridor study that's being done by performed by Guo Chang and Ray from the Transportation Department. As that is being vetted, there's a lot of different things, but some important schools. So they're talking about some safe routes that could be implemented through the corridor study. So, you know, again, all of these different things in terms of, if you keep going on, Megan, just the staff in terms of attending programs and the US DOT training. And then, you know, again, the regional travel demand model, you know, and I think this is really important for those that have looked at this before for your communities. You want to know where the employees, where people are going for their jobs or where they're coming to your community. And this is another effort that's going to be underway. So thank you for the transportation. And just the last couple items in terms of GIS, we really are robust in terms of taking the GIS program, lots of different needs for mapping and we really, it's just Andrew Vidal. And then we do have our new employee is Jay Song, who's been assisting Andrew in the GIS. And of course, back with Sean again with the septic program. It is ongoing. These are the communities that he's engaged with. So that is the staff report. Please take another deeper dive into it. It's really important of the work that we're doing. And I'm always just really just amazed by the caliber of the staff. And when people start telling us at OCPC that we are looking more and more like MAPC, I smile and I say kudos to all the staff. Thank you.
Well, and thank you for your direction.
Thanks, Val. So the next item is just an update on the retirement legislation. You know, we are in constant contact with our legislators. Thank you, Megan, for putting this up. They are looking for actually, this is the retirement. Yes, it is. Is this retirement? Sorry, I'm on another one. I'm thinking of the other one. Thank you. It is. So the good news is last week there was the Mass Association of Regional Planning Agencies meeting. The view is that this year seems to be the most opportune year for us to have legislative action. This is a request for co-sponsors of this has been sent out to our legislators. This is really where I think I want to make sure that the legislative committee is in play. And I know that we've asked for some people to show interest if delegates want to be on the legislative committee. I really need some help now so we can take some action and move forward on this. But this is an item that this board has taken a strong stance on, that we as a regional planning agency, Oak Colony Planning Council, we need to have this act so we are not held to a financial level that would put us out of business, basically, if we were to have to pay back as well as move forward in terms of percentage of paying into the retirement fund. Questions? So it has not been assigned to a committee yet, but we will, there's still time for legislators to sign on. So I'll keep everyone abreast with an email update about whose legislators have signed on, and if we need your assistance in getting others.
Great, thank you.
So
So I
I'll
think
go right, I'll go right
Yeah.
into the remote. So for those who may have attended the MMA meeting, but this is across the board. There has been, I received an update from, that's the one I'm reading. Yep, thank you very much, Megan. This is the update from Al DiGirolamo from Senator Brady's office. He is pretty much gives me an update on a weekly basis about this, not only just for our organization, but for across the board for others. And so committee assignments were just done this week. So once we know what committees and who's going to be on there, they'll be starting to hold hearings. So this is the, again, the legislators have their open meeting, their rules in place to allow for hybrid. But we're talking about having the local cities and towns, and again, there are those that have also know that there could be a mandate to hold it in a format that could be detrimental to some of the communities as well, particularly the smaller communities. So I'll keep you posted on this as soon as I hear, but we're getting into the time. Yeah, I think we're all good with that one, Megan. Thank you. But the timeliness, which should be by the March 31st is when the extension was given. But we really want to make sure that this is going to be something that's going to be the support for having something be embedded within the legislature, within the legislative ability for cities and towns to have hybrid meetings.
Hope so. Yeah. Okay. And are there any questions from the group at all?
And I can jump right into the OPIT status. Yesterday's finance meeting, I have provided an update. We are so in the March meeting, Rockland Trust, who currently oversees the OPIT account, will be providing an overview of where the account is, as Brenda reported in the financial report today. But I've been the attorney, Matthew Feeney. I've reached out to him and he's on vacation this week. But we are in the process of really formulating, getting appointee, representing employees. And then there's a whole process that had been outlined previously. So that's the status. By the March meeting, we should also have the mechanism in place, but it will go through the finance meeting first.
Yeah, it's great. I know you've put a lot of work into that. The group has over the last year. So
it has, Madam Chair. I wish it moved along a little bit further with balancing everything else, but it really is prime for us to really kind of move this calendar year.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of setup and we appreciate that. Okay, so are there any additional items anyone needs to bring to the meeting today?
Madam Chair, the only thing I really wanted to bring up is that there was a John Costa took the time today, had taken time to provide. I had at the last meeting said that if anybody had items to talk about, he came up with a few items. I provided those to you. One was 40B housing regulations. Another was prevailing wage, unfunded mandates, road details, prescription drug advertising, DW Field Park roads in Avon, and sewage in Avon. Those were topics of ideas for future meetings that John sent along. And I think that would be, if anybody else has any similar items, we can take them and bundle them and then provide an update at probably the next meeting, or the April meeting, I think is more like it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And so the only other thing then is that looking for members to serve on the legislative committee as well as the diversity, inclusion, and equity committee. So if anybody does have an interest, you can call me, email me, tell me, and then I will certainly, or you can tell the chair your wishes, and because she will be the person to be doing the appointing. So the only thing that I would say is that before adjourning, or we can adjourn and have people stay on, I really would like to have Megan talk about this because there's been a couple folks about Megan, maybe it's, I know you send this out in a document, in an email, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So, so in this, why don't you walk everybody through, because this is how, again, if this process does not work for someone, then we will probably need to send it out in a separate email. And if we can in advance, mail the document to someone if they needed to have it in hard copy.
Yep. So, as Mary mentioned, a few months ago, and we've kind of created this newsletter to try and reduce the amount of emails that we send out to the council. When we prepare the meeting packet, sometimes it gets updated and we don't want to have to email you 3 times in 2 days. And so we've created the newsletter as well as the Google Doc, which everyone has access to as long as you have the link, which will always have the most up-to-date packet, agenda, any additional information that you may need during the meeting, as well as any updates. And I usually add in the recordings. The recordings are always on YouTube, but I always add the hard copy version as well within the Google Doc. So when you get the newsletter, just so you know, anything that has an underline on it 9 times out of 10 is a link. So one of the things, the opening message will always have access to the Google Drive link, which I'll go to in a moment. Usually in the bottom left section is going to be where the access to last month's meetings information, as well as a direct link to this upcoming month. So again, in the Google Drive, I'll show you that I put folders. So no matter what, there's one link that brings you to access to everything. This is just trying to streamline it so you don't have to look around for it. This will bring you direct access. Meetings and events, you'll also gain access to, these have direct access to the Zoom links within this calendar. So if you clicked on it, I'm not going to because we're already in Zoom, but it'll bring you directly to this Zoom account. So if you can't find it, if you've lost the calendar invite or anything, but you do know where the council newsletter is, you can always just go here and access it there. This also includes some of the other webinars that, OCPC is either involved in or is hosting, just so that you kind of have the most up-to-date information, just like the MPO meeting as well. Up here is going to be kind of some of the other simple items. So just as a heads up, in case you weren't able to read this, we now have communication interns, which is wonderful to streamline some of the things that I can work on. And one of the things Mary's wanted to do a lot is work on highlighting council members. So they'll be reaching out. So this is just kind of the FYIs and sometimes action items if we need you to sign up for something, if there's a meeting that we want to see if you're interested in attending. So obviously when possible, we'll try and highlight it differently. But this is really just trying to get everything into one spot.
Megan, let's just do a quick stop because that's a lot of information for everybody. Let's see, because I really think it's important for me today. There was a little bit of some hiccups. And I want to make sure that number one, people are receiving the packet. That part's really important. And then if we're not, then we need to figure it out. So maybe if we'll start with maybe Frank and John. Did you understand maybe with what Megan's talking about? And does this work? Have you ever seen this email before?
I've seen that, yes.
Okay, all right. And I think, Megan, if I could, I think the challenge ends up being, because if it's something new, right? It's something new that many of that we've shifted. And I think this does make sense for us to take the time to do this, but that, where can you maybe like just use your pointer into where the document and maybe even click on it so we can show.
So let's see, again, I'm not going to click on this, but you'll see kind of when I roll over it, it's not going to do it now. All of a sudden, there you go. It pops up showing that it's a link to go to Zoom. So here, let's say we want to go to the February finance meetings. It's going to the Google Doc. And it brings you access. So here's the finance audit packet, the council packet, meeting minutes, and some of the other attachments. Sometimes I don't put everything in there. It's just more of, sometimes I put the initial stuff before it gets packaged. So that way you at least have access, as soon as it's available, such as like the financials. but then you can also see if this is, again, one specific folder. And here is the direct access to everything. So up here, you'll see folders. And so I do it by month. Depending upon how much content it is, I might separate, give you additional folders. So I think maybe January had, nope, it didn't. So I see after the meetings are over, they're processed, the access to the recordings are also here.
So
And-
Megan, just to do another stop on this. So, again, I would have the delegates consider this as being really a centralized place to go, that, all of this information does not get posted onto the website. Like, we don't really, we post the agenda and we post the minutes. We don't post the financials. We don't post the whole packet of information. If that's something that you want to have, then we can certainly do that. But this is providing really just for delegates and alternates yourselves a place for you to look back at previous meetings or recordings in one central location. Again, it's new. It's and it is on computer and it can be a little bit daunting, but I again wanted just to have Megan kind of review. Maybe let's stop here to see if there's questions from folks.
One question I have is whether I think for the answer, but is the newsletter posted on the website?
Megan?
Not the council newsletter, because this is specific to council members only. So it's one of those things where we want to make sure that, like Mary said, the financial access to the financials and everything is there. One thing that is done that I'm gonna pull up is the calendar invite. I've made a, sorry, my screens are all getting jumbled. I always put an access to the Google link because I know sometimes it's easy to lose access to things. So if you opened up the sorry.
I see the message from Mary in the newsletter. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the calendar invite, you'll also see it at the top every time. So then that way, if it's, as long as it's in your calendar, you'll be able to find it up here, which again, if you just click on it, it brings you direct access. This one, I'll edit the link because it went straight to January. So this is kind of that basic thing, but like Mary said, things are new. Sorry, my husband stopped watching my child. I can always make sure that there's different ways. So if this doesn't work for you, I don't mind doing specific reach outs to certain people, knowing that, hey, this doesn't work for you. Just let me know. And I'm completely willing to do anything that is the best approach. I know some people can't always find the Zoom information, so I can just email them day of so that you have it easily accessible in your email. Other
and
people don't know how
Megan,
to find other information, so.
Val mentioned even maybe if just putting the Google link onto the agenda for.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
And so that maybe, Yolanda's talking about bookmarking the key links in the browser, which is, if you look up the top of Megan's, that's usually where it is.
I think a lot of what you're doing is super helpful, and it's going to take us a little bit of practice, but
right.
This is really, really a big helpful tool, I think, for everybody, because it is hard to surf everything and find everything. And the newsletter has, continued to evolve into a really great document. So, that with all the outreach you're doing, I think is really helping everyone.
And I think we really want to make sure we understand that this method may not be the easiest way, right? Everybody serves on different boards and each board is different. And if you have a particular need to not go through the Google Drive, then we will send out a packet. I really want to make sure that we're accommodating what you as delegates and alternate need to read up and be engaged and have information in advance so you can properly vote on the things that we put before you. The idea is not for us to rush through these things. It really was trying to figure out a way, again, as Megan said, I heard from delegates and from my review about trying to reduce the number of emails. Utilizing the Google Drive was a way that we could do it. And didn't mean to take up all this much time. I know we lost Lee because he has to go to a 7 o'clock, but we still have a quorum. But I really wanted to make sure, we could do, if there are those that would like us to walk through with you, then we will take the time to do that before the March meeting.
So
Well,
Mary,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a question. So Megan, the day of the meeting, we will still get a link. It's just up on the top, there will be where we can get the packets and stuff, correct?
So typically it's as long as you have the calendar invite, but I know Sandy, like you, I tend to I email the day of the link. If people
Yeah.
would prefer it that I always email them, then I can absolutely do that. I just know some people would prefer just getting the calendar just having their calendar invite as their access. So Sandy, I'm always going to do that for you. That's kind of one of the good examples as to something that, is
Yep.
specific. So, do people have a preference? Would you like to get an email the day of, with all the information just in front of your face? I know some people like that, so.
That's helpful for me.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, great. So I think from now on, the next, starting next month, you'll have the calendar invite, but the day of, you'll also get the most up-to-date packet with the call-in information in an email, most likely in the
Right.
morning. And that will just kind of be part of our new moving forward.
Great,
Yeah.
Madam
thank you.
Chair, Madam
very
Chair,
helpful.
Rhonda Nyman, I would just ask Megan if, till I get used to the new Google Drive or whatever, would you
Mhm.
mind just emailing me for the next meeting as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
Rhonda.
you.
And I'm gonna say I'm old school too. I like to get the email so that I can find everything.
Totally
John,
get it.
John Costa has a question.
Just any chance you could send that out the day before rather than day of?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
Again, most of the information, particularly the financials, right, we have those are prepared by Brenda. Pretty much as long as when the OPEB account comes in to have that be added, but the financials are pretty much really done. And so we have to have it for the finance meeting. So many of these items today, right, are very similar to last night's meeting, but just to focus on finance. So we'll get those sent out, Frank, John, to everyone in advance the day before.
Great, thank you.
And if you call us back the next day and you need another link, we'll do that. But cell phones, text, email, call, whatever ones. Again, apologies for those that may have had some experience and not getting this. And, that again was never our intent. It's just a little bit of a moving target of trying to do a lot of different things. And we'll continue to work for the March meeting to get that information in the best fashion to each of your needs.
Great. Are there any other questions or comments on this? Okay. Are there any additional items? No, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second,
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we need a roll call vote, do we?
No.
Show of hands.
All right, show of hands. And thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye. Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Tomorrow.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Night, everyone.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.